Okay, we're doing Braising 101. We're cooking with Randy and Justin. So this one is actually, we're going to do 2 cuts of meat. We're going to braise it, and because of a friend of mine named Bill in Dixon wanted to know how to do braising, so we're going to do that. He was also the reason why we did the omelet show, was for Bill. So I'm going to do, actually, this is a shank, beef shank. If you're familiar with ossobuco, ossobuco is veal shank, and it's cut pretty much in spots like that.
Yeah, about 2 inches.
Yeah, about 2 inches.
Usually about 2 inches.
Yeah, because there's really not a lot of meat on these things. It's mostly bone, but that bone is a lot of flavor. And then Justin's going to do short ribs. So we got a thing of short ribs. So we're going to watch Justin cut up some mirepoix. He'll explain what mirepoix is. I gotta get my camera on. We got some Irish music going on in the background.
So mirepoix is just onions, carrots, and celery. I also have some leeks. We're gonna do some rosemary. I have some thyme, some garlic. We have Guinness, tomato paste, and some red wine. Real simple recipe. Bear with me while I chop up these veggies real quick. And when you're braising something, you know, you're cooking it low and slow for a long time in liquid. And so you don't really need to dice up all your vegetables super small. You could rough chop them however you'd like, because they're gonna cook. And I actually leave my garlic cloves whole. I just trim off the little end of them. And one thing about cutting up this mirepoix is you'll see the stages I cut it up in. You'll see what I mean in a second. It's off there. There we go. Okay, my celery and carrots have already been washed. I'm not peeling my carrots. I'm just making sure they're washed. So I'm just gonna dice up some onion real quick.
If anybody does any of these dishes that we're doing at home, hey, show us some pictures, you know?
Yeah.
Say, hey, definitely. This is what I did.
Yeah, be proud of what you do. Like Julia Child said, no regrets.
Exactly.
No regrets, no apologies. What you get, what you see, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Rough chop this real quick.
Yeah, when he says chop, he means it.
I actually do a little bit more carrots in there because I like the carrots almost like in a stew. When you're braising something like this. That piece, I didn't like that piece. So I'm just gonna go once this way. Once this way. Like I said, my celery is already washed. Everything in here is already washed. The one reason that I do cut up my leeks last is because leeks, the layers have sand in between them usually. And so I don't want to get sand on my cutting board with all my other vegetables. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to go ahead and turn on my pan and start getting it hot.
Let's talk about real pan real quick. That's actually just a fry pan that Justin's going to do his, because this isn't as tall. This is called a rondo, and R-O-N-D-E-A-U is how you spell that, and that's a French, I guess French for hot. I don't know.
I thought it was Mexican for round. Or okay. Spanish for round.
I like it. I'm going with that.
Maybe somebody out there could clue us in. Okay, so we got some carrots, onions, carrots and celery, mirepoix. Do just a little bit more carrot here real quick.
Yeah, don't go that fast at home, you'll lose a finger.
Okay, and Randy's going to use the same thing in his dish, so I'm going to leave a little bit of this for him also when I do mine.
Yeah, we're making them identically the same, so it's just different cuts of meat.
Okay. I'm just gonna chop up some herbs real quick.
So you have some
Rosemary and
some
thyme.
No parsley and sage today. They're saying, oh, wait a second. I take that back. There may be. It's a run to the walk-in.
That was supposed to buy me cilantro the other day.
Ah!
He got me parsley, so we will have
You got
some parsley in there.
Nice.
We'll do a little parsley too. Sorry, Sage, you're gone.
Yeah, sage is gone, so.
I'm sure you don't have any big stems or anything.
Yeah. This is one of those dishes that you really want to use fresh herbs and not the dried bottle ones.
I try and use fresh as much as possible.
Yeah.
Sometimes I use both.
There's some area, like I was talking about sausage one day. You kind of want to use the dry stuff in the sausage, but something like this, yeah, you definitely want to go fresh.
So as I was saying, there's sand in between the leeks. If you look in here, you can see there's sand and dirt. So that's why I did those last, so I don't get the sand on my cutting board and get my other vegetables that I've already washed dirty. I'm going to show you how to clean these a real easy way.
Yeah, even after you wash leeks like that, you cut them and then wash them again.
Yeah. As you can see, look in between the layers.
Yep.
Sand.
I would say probably grown, I don't know, maybe Salinas or something like that. Or
Yep.
it's very sandy soil.
A lot of times, part of the year we get them from River Dog. They're the King Arthur. And there's so much white instead of the green.
Yeah. Actually, I actually like using the King Arthurs better. I think the King Arthurs have a little bit better flavor.
Yeah. A little more mild. Bowl.
Okay, off to the sink. Cold water.
Cold water. And what the idea here is the sand will go to the bottom and I keep my leeks on top.
Just gonna move them around, get all that sand out of it.
Water I can spill. One of the things that we don't talk much about on cooking shows too is when you're cooking, always be cleaning up after yourself.
Clean as you go. We actually have there's a saying in the restaurant business: if you're not cooking, you're cleaning.
Clean kitchen's a happy kitchen. We all like happy kitchens because happy kitchens has good food.
Exactly.
Okay, pan's nice and hot now. I have a couple serranos. If you like it spicy, use a bigger one or use two. I'm going to use just one to give it a little bit of heat in there. All I'm going to do with this is just split it once like that. Okay. Our ribs, short ribs, these are beautiful looking.
Yeah, they are.
And,
nice marbling in there.
I don't need to trim anything off of this. You can pull a little bit of the fat off of it once it's cooked, but I want that fat in there. I want that flavor, and I want the fat to break down with the rest of the tissue. Okay, so we got a nice short rib right here. Sometimes they're a little thicker on one side. What you could always do is go like that, make that into two, like that.
Look at all the meat on that. I mean,
and look at that marbling.
And that fat is just flavor.
Okay, and we're gonna do like that. That one's.
Now these look like they're boneless. Are they boneless?
These are boneless. You know,
okay.
I like to serve them with the bone in whenever I get the chance because I like the presentation with the bone. But
right now we're the way with the coronavirus, we're getting what we can get on as far as meat products go.
Yeah. So I'm gonna season these up just with salt. Okay. Pretty liberal too. Okay. So with salt.
A little oil.
There's just It's a 40-60 blend olive oil canola. Just in case anybody's wondering. Okay.
You could use straight canola or
Oh yeah.
or pretty much anything to braise it or to sear these off. Now, the searing is very important for flavor as well as texture.
You're trying to lock in the flavor, the juices. So you're searing off the outside to give it a nice brown, but not only are you giving it brown, you're sealing in those flavors. Okay. You notice on this, I only did salt on these. When I'm searing meats, I usually don't go my pepper right away because it tends to get a little bitter. Okay.
Well, that pan's nice and hot now.
You notice I haven't touched it with this one because you gotta keep a clean hand.
Nice hot pan.
Hot pan. And when you're stirring, you don't necessarily want to go high, high, high. But if you notice, I've moved my pan like this, but I'm not shaking my pan around. I'm not moving my meat. Set it there, let it cook, let it get its mark on it. Get rid of this cutting board.
So one thing to say about like different cuts of meat and the reason why they're braised is on anything beef products that is a muscle that is used a lot, like in legs, like this, or in the case of the short ribs, those muscles are used quite a bit, and that being very hard to cook with. I mean, if you cut this off and try to fry it up, it would be shoe leather. So it's got all the tendons, it's got all the stuff in there that you want to cook all out. And so around the areas like where the ribeye comes on, that area, the tenderloin, that's all really, really tender because those muscles aren't really working as much as like leg muscles and stuff like that.
Okay, we're starting to get some color on these. So.
And I'm going to basically be doing the same thing with the shank too, but I don't think we need to show that one for this. The same thing.
Do it. Sear off all the sides. That's how I do it.
Yeah.
Not just each side. Do all the sides. Here. The next dish we're going to make while this is cooking in the oven, because it's going to be, like you said, slow and low for about 3.5 hours, up to 4 hours, or depending on how slow and low you want to do it. But we're also going to make a quick, I saw Randy's last video with dessert that I didn't get to do with him, so I'm going to do a dessert today too, so bear with us and see somebody that usually doesn't make desserts make a dessert.
However, you at the state fair, when you had to come up with a dessert off the top of your head, was pretty freaking awesome.
You know, it's funny because the desserts are always the one I was getting worried about in those. So this last time I did it, I started my dessert first because I wanted to make sure. Guess it didn't matter, it still got special. Sorry, Darren.
Yep.
Okay, so we got all these sides seared. Okay, see our pan starting to get nice and brown too.
Yeah, that's flavor there.
I'm gonna throw in some Mirepoix. Remember, I'm leaving a little bit for Randy too. Leek.
You know, people don't cook with leeks.
Okay. Oh, I braised some leeks for a vegetarian dish I did the other day. They came out great.
Yeah.
Everybody tasted them in the kitchen. They were like, "That's a leek." I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, it's a leek.
So I'm gonna go a little more salt, pepper for my veggies I just added, and well, some pepper because I haven't had any pepper in it yet. But here we go. Pepper, salt. We're gonna put in our garlic, and like I said, I don't chop up my garlic in this because it's gonna break down anyways. Okay. My herbs. I'm gonna reserve a little bit of my herbs for the end just to give it another bright flavor and some color. Okay. We got the tomato paste. 2 tablespoons, it's probably about half a cup. Okay.
Now for the good stuff.
We've got some wine, red wine. Got a little more red wine. And of course we're Irish, so you gotta have some Guinness in it. And that's actually how we call these on the menu when we do them. We don't have them on our menu. We did have them on our menu before for a while as a special, and they are on our catering menu. But it's one of those winter dishes that we like to. We do a lot of braising here. So put this mix up in there.
Let's see, the lamb for the shepherd's pie is braised.
Yep, the lamb shoulder we braise.
The beef.
The Irish stew is almost kind of like this too, but it's we stove top it. We don't braise it in the oven slow. We stove top it for about 2.5 to 3 hours.
That's why it comes out so good.
The only stew I like better is my mom's, but that's just because it's mom's. Okay, so we're gonna bring that back up to boil. As soon as it starts to boil, we're gonna cover it, stick it in the oven, and let it simmer. As soon as my wine and my beer reduce just a little bit, I'm gonna add a little bit of water, or if you have beef stock, add some beef stock. You know, we call.
You can actually even add chicken stock if you have that and you don't have beef stock.
Yeah, chicken stock would work too.
Vegetable stock, any good stock will work.
Or California stock.
Well, there you go, yeah.
Which is water.
Yeah.
A little bit. Okay. Cover them a little.
You don't necessarily need to cover those completely, but you want to get them pretty much.
Yeah, you want to get some liquid for it to be simmering in. Okay. So this pan, I don't have a lid for it. Not only that, I want it kind of deeper.
Yeah. But you can cook in that pan.
You can throw this right too, especially if I like to have a lid on it or wrap some foil over it. Put that in your oven. I don't recommend putting foil in your convection oven.
Yeah, that's never good.
Because if it comes off and gets in your fan of the motor, mess it up real bad. Yeah. But you can already see how. You see the liquid, how it's starting to shine, get kind of shiny and glossy looking. You'll see the difference once this is cooked for about 2.5 hours, 3 hours. The color and how the thickness, how it thickens up. Okay, we're going to take that. Shanks, those are some nice. Those are going to cook down. Those are some big ones. Okay. That with all our liquid and our goodies.
Oh, there you go.
And like I said, I don't recommend putting convection or foil in your convection oven. So what am I going to do? I'm going to put foil in my convection oven. You're contradicting yourself.
Yeah, but you're putting a lid on it.
I'm putting a lid on it, and I'm making all the little pieces of, there's no strays going to fly off from the pan. Okay. And you could do this in your conventional oven. Actually, today I would have done this in a conventional oven for time purposes. We're doing it in the convection, but we're going to do our bread pudding in this oven too. So we're going in the convection oven. I got a 350 with the fan on low. It's probably actually running about 375. And I'm going to set that. I'm going to probably not come back to it for at least an hour and a half. Check it, see how it's looking, make sure it's not doing what you don't want it to do, or it's doing what you want it to do. And like I said, it's probably going to these could take up to 4 hours, however slow you want to do them. Pretty much you're looking for fall apart tender.
So one of the questions we had, or I had earlier, but when I was thinking this up is, can you do this in an Instapot or a slow cooker? And yes.
Crock-pot, yeah.
Crock-pot, yeah. But you still, I would, you know, a lot of the Instapots now have a searing function on them. Mine doesn't, but some of them do. So you can do some searing and do it all in there. Do exactly what Justin did right inside the Instapot. And then you want to cook that on high for about an hour, and 40 minutes to an hour. Really, kind of, I don't know, it depends on your Instapot. And probably in a crock pot, you want to go, low for about, I don't know, 4 hours probably.
At least 4, yeah.
Yeah,
probably.
in a crock pot. You can finish it off.
Actually great for that kind of stuff because crock pots are meant for setting.
Yeah.
Get it low and slow.
Yeah, exactly.
I forgot to put my Serrano in, so I'm going to open it.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, that's how you do it in a Instapot or a crock pot, and it's the same thing. So just mine, if I did mine in my Instapot at home, I would sear it off just like Justin did. Then I would pour it in and then set it and forget it. Yes, please. Thank you. So I'm going to do mine exactly the same way, but I don't think we need to show me searing mine because it's basically going to sear the same way. So, okay, go.
Okay, I used to do this a rabbit recipe where it was rabbit confit, and I like recipes where the first step on the recipe says something cool, like it said kill the wabbit, for the first step on the recipe. Actually, when you're doing any recipe, and the recipe we just showed you, a step that we didn't show you, and I know you've been hearing a lot lately, very important, especially in the kitchen, always wash your hands. Take your time, take the 20 seconds, so you get nice lathered up, and wash your hands. So, why this is braising, we're gonna go ahead and make a dessert for you. Luckily, I don't have to make desserts here. We have a wonderful baker and pastry chef on your Redmond. She makes all our soda breads, all our baking here. Any breads that we don't make, we get from Sacramento Baking. And I'm gonna show you a little bread pudding that I'm making today with some white peaches that Randy got for me from the Woodland Farmers Market yesterday. Yeah, I'm not a pastry chef, but I'm gonna show you something how I make it sometimes, if I'm lucky, or if I have. So, I'm gonna show you all the ingredients. We have some beautiful white peaches that Randy got us. Sacramento Baking. This is a great way, instead of making croutons with your leftover bread or making a panzanella, which is a bread salad, Tuscan style bread salad. Use up your bread and make a bread pudding, make something sweet, make a dessert to go with your dinner. Okay? So we have white peaches, cream, eggs, bread. I'm gonna make a little peach vodka whipped cream to go with it. We have nutmeg, cinnamon, little pure vanilla. Like I said, all of our breads we get here that Anya doesn't make in-house, we get from Sac Baking. You're gonna need some pan spray, a baking dish, 2 bowls, whisk, microplane, spatula, strainer. Now I'm gonna use this for time. I'm gonna use a melon baller. Should always have a spoon in your kitchen. And almost always when you're baking, you're very precise about usually measurements. I'm not doing that today. We're not gonna do that today. I'm just gonna throw it together, okay? So we'll give you approximates, so if you want to make this at home. So first thing I'm gonna do is cut up my bread. I'm just gonna go about crouton size. Bear with me for a second. And like I said, this is a great way to use up old bread before it starts to go bad or mold or stale. And you could use whatever bread you want. You could use leftover croissants that you had from the night before for dinner or something, or some rolls. Doesn't really matter. Just so we're gonna use this is a sourdough baguette from Sac Baking. I have some sweet French here. Use up your ends and stuff, Like I said, you can make some croutons or panzanella or breadcrumbs for your dishes or something, but you always want to utilize all your product and not waste anything.
Yeah, all your breadcrumbs are made in-house too, aren't they?
Yes. So this is, like I said, about let your bread go moldy. This is not moldy bread. This is actually baking wheat walnut sourdough bread. And it comes purple like that. It does have walnuts in it, so if you have an allergy, watch out for that, always. Okay, I'm just gonna cut that up a little. Cut up my peaches a little. I have a little bit reserved over here that I'm gonna use for garnish. And I'm gonna try and make a kind of almost a spun sugar or something with it for garnish on the top to give it a little more sweetness, okay? And as you see, I'm not really worried about how these are chopped up. I'm just kind of rough chopping them. Okay. And just remember, whatever fruit you're using, and depending on how ripe it is going to add some liquid. So you might need a little extra egg to thicken it up. But I don't know, pastry chef will probably be able to explain that better. Okay, so I got my bread, my peaches, the whole peaches in, my bread in. That's that up there. Okay.
So if you're wondering if there's going to be a recipe for this, no. Follow along.
What's that, 6? Let's do 8. Okay, we have 8 eggs with no shell. Now no shell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just too crunchy.
Sugar. Yeah, probably about a half a cup or 2 here. Okay. Trying to get some new nutmeg. Some nutmeg in here. Always use fresh nutmeg and grind it myself. That's where the microplane comes in. And make sure when you're using a microplane, you get the zest or the product in there, not your finger.
Yeah, that's never good.
Yeah. Doesn't feel good, and people don't want skin or blood in their food usually, unless it's from the animal you're cooking. So we got some nutmeg in there. We're gonna do just a little bit of cinnamon. Like I said, very precise measurements here for the pastry chef. Oh, we got company. Hey, Pat.
Hey, Pat!
Oh, whoops. We're not putting the bread in there. Little vanilla.
A little bit.
A little bit. And cream. Heavy whipping cream. Okay. Whisk that all up.
You wouldn't like it. It's got peaches in it.
Oh, you don't like peaches?
I like peaches.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I guess the cucumber salad's out too.
How was church? I didn't watch today. I was there. Alright, so we got that all whisked up. We're going to strain this into our bread mixture with our peaches. And if you don't want to strain it at home, don't strain it, I don't care. I just feel a lot better doing it. That's for sure.
So the slip and slide comes in here.
You can see about how liquidy that is already. See that?
Yeah, that bread just to soak all that.
Soak all that up.
Yeah, it's all about custard.
Custard in there. And you know what? It's actually looking a little bit dry to me. So I'm gonna do just a little bit more custard. 2 more eggs.
Yeah, you almost kind of want to swim a little bit.
So now you get to see me make it again real quick. Little egg, little cream, sugar,
Nutmeg.
nutmeg, cinnamon, vanilla,
That's the thing, it's okay if you don't make enough, but you can always make more.
and that's the part about following a recipe too.
Yeah. Need the recipe. Overrated.
What's that?
Overrated.
Guideline.
Exactly. It's more of a guideline.
It's the exact measurements that you'll never use.
Or you're making it and yeah, it's the last of your nutmeg or something. It's not quite a teaspoon. That's enough. That's it. There we go. That
Well, how much do you put in? Enough? Enough. I put enough in. Whoops. With my microphone. Yeah, you can pack it in there.
Pack it in there a little.
Also get a piece that jumped out. Now you got some bread that jumped out
That's it.
on the side.
Oh. Okay. Well, we're actually gonna.
A water bath so it cooks evenly? Is that why you would use a water bath? To cook it evenly?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a baker or a pastry chef. No, I don't know. Well, it was tough. Yeah. Like when you're doing something with a custard usually, like that or creme brulee
Yeah.
or something, the baking and water.
Yeah, it's the custard. You don't want to overcook the custard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so you can see how much custard's in there. Like I said, we're gonna cook it in a water bath. So you want the water to go up about halfway, okay? Usually, so you don't slosh around and get water in your product. Get it in your oven, and then add more water. And this will probably take, this is about 325, this oven. Probably take about anywhere from 30 to 45, maybe an hour. But we're gonna check it after about 25, 30 minutes. And while that's baking, we're gonna make a quick garnish for it. And whipped cream. Randy showed you making whipped cream the other week with his stand mixer. He said you could do it by hand or the...
Well, if you're built like Popeye, you can do it by hand. But
Or you can get one of those great old Whip-O-Matics.
I have I have the Whip-O-Matic.
We're gonna do a little sugar. And since we're doing peach, we're gonna use a little peach vodka in there. Just a little.
A little bit. Just a little, just a touch.
A little bit of vanilla. Green. Whoops. Okay. So Randy showed you the hard way. I'll show you the easy way. Optional if you don't have one of these at home.
You just use a hand blender.
Yeah, a hand blender.
Hand blender, yeah. Yeah, that's what I meant. The hand. You can use a hand blender.
That's what we do up front.
Yeah, yeah. For the Irish coffee.
Yeah.
Hopefully I have peach vodka whipped cream now. See if it works.
Oh, look at that.
A little quicker, huh? Okay.
Well, I know, but you know, is it really? You Yeah, it is.
Well, that's good. Oh, you can taste the peach just a little too.
Yeah. Yeah, just a little bit.
And then we're gonna do a sponge sugar also.
Wow.
Not really sponge. Just a clean
Sharpening steel.
steel that I have right here. I'm gonna put on there. Get some more sugar real quick.
So I talked about heating up sugar in the last on my
Yeah, that's what made me think
this
of
is
it.
exactly it. Yeah, exactly. This is there's temperature in candy is
So,
certain
this
certain
isn't
degrees.
the bread pudding that Anya makes at the pub. Anya makes a wonderful bread pudding here, and she does a whiskey caramel sauce with it.
Which is
I'm just
awesome.
I'm not making the caramel sauce. I'm just gonna make some sugar. Lazy fish.
And that is just pure sugar.
Pure sugar and a non-stick down.
What happens to sugar when you heat it up? It turns into liquid. Eventually.
Yeah, that's what you were talking about in your last one. That's different stages of candy.
Right, exactly. Soft and then it gets to hard. And if you spin it around, you have cotton candy.
Yeah. As you can see, it's starting to do something.
Gonna get liquidy.
When you're cooking with sugar, be very careful. It'll burn you. Burn you really bad.
Very hot and sticky.
See, it's,
The more you cook it, the darker it is.
yeah, you see it's starting to get some color, starting to almost all liquefy. And we're not going to go much past that stage, okay? We're going to do a little bit more color on it. I'm going to show you, I'm actually going to let it cool just a tiny bit in the pan, and then so I can form it. Okay? Now we're at a liquid, right? Almost all dissolved.
It's already a very caramel brown.
I got a sheet pan, my steel, and a silicone baking sheet or pad. And so I'm gonna let this cool just a tiny bit. Put it in here so it'll cool quicker. You can see it almost has that caramel color, but it's still very liquidy. See that?
Yep, and that was white just a couple seconds ago. Or
Yeah.
clear, actually. Or dissolving.
Okay. Now all you're looking for is consistency. So once it starts to thicken up a little bit, I'm gonna put it on this pad. But for it to thicken, it needs to cool a little.
You're not looking for honey consistency, but you're looking for somewhere right.
Somewhere about there,
Between
yeah.
that, yeah.
Almost, yeah. Little thinner.
Yeah.
I like to think this one on here is like how you said your dessert, you have that ooh and then that aw factor.
Exactly,
This
yeah.
is the ooh,
This
when you
is-
see it, it's like ooh, and then you taste it.
This is a new all one too.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, look
so
at that.
you see, you're almost to that.
Yeah.
See how thick it is? It's starting to get. Do some little designs right here. You know, play around. Yeah, I think it's starting to get ready.
Oh yeah.
See?
Yeah. So
Now watch.
it'll thicken up really quick. Have you ever heard of the thing spun sugar? Yeah, that's spun sugar.
And you'll see, so hopefully I'll be able to make a nice little garnish out of this.
Kind of like a bird nest.
Kind of like a little bird nest. Okay. More. Okay. Now once that hardens, we'll see what we have. Ooh, look how thick it's getting. Okay, that's fine. So now once this hardens up, we want to show you on the end. So we have some cream to top it with for the topping, some garnish, and let's do some of the peach because they're so pretty and all that. That way they know what's in it. So here, I need my... Yeah, I didn't use it to measure, but we're gonna use it as a melon baller. These little different shapes. Or big size balls. Oh, pardon me. Actual melon baller. Well, it's just a cute way to make some little garnishes, you know, for your dish.
That's the reason why I like using the white peaches too. They hold up.
Oh yeah.
They're a little stiffer than the regular like plain peaches.
Just a little right there. And then when we plate that, we can, you know, fan them out on there and put some little garnishes on there and, you know, try and make it pretty. And yeah. In about 2 hours, huh?
Yeah, about 2 hours.
About 2 hours. All right.
Yep.
All right, so we're about 2 hours in so far.
Ooh,
And Randy's shank is right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and see how some of it's in the liquid and some of it's not. I'm gonna go
You
ahead
see
and
how
give
it's
this
pulling
a
away
turn.
from the bone.
Already it is. Look at that.
Look at that.
Oh, look.
Yeah, it doesn't want to roll. I had a hard time when I was braising it. I mean, searing it. It didn't want to roll.
Cap back on. At this point, I'm just looking to make sure that my liquid hasn't dried up too much or that it's burning on the top or anything like that. Grab another towel real quick. Take the foil off of this too. And in the background over, you can see our sugar, what it looks like, kind of almost like glass now. Kind of just fun little garnishes, you know, make.
Oh, look at that.
And you see it's already
look how
starting to
thick that
thicken up. And look, I'm squeezing it. That's one of my smaller ones too, but I'd say these have probably another hour at least. But like I said, I'm just looking to see that I still have some liquid.
Yeah, look at that. It's how thick
And
that.
it's not
How
burning.
thick that got.
For approximately another hour. And why I got you on with the camera? Go take a look and see what the red pudding's doing. I know it's not there yet, just because I don't think it's been that long, but it never hurts to peek. It's still a little wet right there.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to set a timer for this for about 15 minutes, and we'll check it.
Yeah, you don't have one of these at your house.
Yeah. Trimark sells them.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, try Mark.
Yeah, these are great. They have 4 different timers, 4 different noise beats, 4 different colors, so you can always tell what you're doing. Or you set 4 timers for 4 different things and forget which one's which.
And this little ditty down here, this is called a sham. It's a cook and hold oven, so you can cook in it, or you can hold food, in it for set whatever temperature you want. So there you go. The basic what I want to tell you is when this is the whole coronavirus thing is all over, restaurants are opening back up again. Go out, support the restaurants, support, Father Patty's, Morgan's on Main, all the restaurants in Woodland. Come out, if you've never been to Father Patty's, come out, and see what Justin's got going. The food here is phenomenal. I just want to give a shout out to the restaurant. If it wasn't for Pat and his generosity, we wouldn't be doing these here, and I want to really thank him for that. It's nice to be able to come into a kitchen and be able to do these shows and not have to worry about buying that space or that. There's no way I could do a lot of these in my kitchen at home. So I want to thank Pat for that. But yeah, come out to the restaurants, support us, support what they're doing. Some of the stuff you're seeing here, we're doing. These guys do on a daily basis. So come out and support them. Thank you.
Okay. All right, welcome back. Our short ribs have been in just almost about 3 hours, about 2 hours and 45 minutes right now. Our bread pudding's out and it's resting over here. I'm gonna show you a quick little sauce to make. Usually they serve it with prime rib, but it's just creamed horseradish, so we're gonna do a little sour cream. Okay. Horseradish for a little kick.
That'll clean your nose out.
Oh yeah. A little Worcestershire sauce, also known as embalming fluid. Salt, sugar. That's it. All right. Well, it's going to be a sauce. We're going to put a little dollop of it on top of our meat. A little dollop of Daisy. Okay. And I got some roasted garlic puree right here. This is just like the garlic cloves I've showed you earlier. We cover them in oil and roast them for about a half an hour, 45 minutes, and then we strain them and puree it. So this is just roasted garlic puree. It comes out really sweet and not overpower like pungent like garlic can get sometimes. Do some roasted garlic mashed potatoes, and I got some nice Durst asparagus, which is in season right now, and some baby carrots. I think all. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how to plate these dishes real quick. The last thing you want to do with your plating is make it so when you serve it to somebody, they go, "Ooh, what's that? I don't want to eat that." So you want to make it look nice, So we're gonna cut some of this bread pudding out.
We eat with our eyes before we eat with our mouth.
And I'm going backwards. I'm gonna do the dessert first. I'm gonna plate right here. We have this spun sugar that I did earlier, and we're gonna put that right down there as a garnish. See how pretty that looks. Take a piece of our bread pudding out of here that we cooked. And if you let it set up a little bit longer, it'll be more of a solid piece,
That's pretty solid.
That, okay. Now, we have those little melon balls that we did of the peach, so probably keep the milk peaches in there. Put some of those on the outside just for garnish. Okay. I have some of these cut up ones that I did, some sliced ones. A little bit of that on there. Garnish it however you'd like, there's no rules. Okay. We have this good cream the other day, the peach vodka with cream. Put a little bit of that on there. See, now you're starting to get that ooh factor. Ooh, ah. Garnish over there.
There you go.
sugar. A little bird nest I'm gonna put right on top. Give it a little height. Put that sticking out the side just because it's kind of Dr. Seuss looking. I'm gonna stick that right there. Voila.
There you go.
Dessert. Wow. White peach bread pudding with a vodka, peach, whipped cream, and spun sugar. Serve that to your friends and see what they think.
Yeah, there you
Okay,
go.
now we're gonna go ahead and plate up this short rib, a bowl right here. I went and grabbed some garnishes from our edible learning garden over here, Dinners on Main that we have. Went and grabbed little flowers and garnishes and stuff, and I have these nice little daikon radish, purple daikon radishes that we're gonna garnish it with. We're using carrots, so this is a carrot top. I like to garnish with stuff that I'm using in my dish already at all times. Not only that, all of these are cleaned and edible. If you're garnishing your plate with something, make sure it's edible. Thanks, Keith Breedlove. And we do this at the restaurant. You don't have to do this at home, but I'm gonna pipe my mashed potatoes.
All of the mashed potatoes are piped here.
Almost all of them.
Almost all. Well, 99.9% of them.
So we got some roasted garlic mash right here. Got it in my bag. And trust me, if you're at home and you scoop this out and put it on the plate, it's gonna be fine, don't worry.
You'll be just fine.
Here we go. A nice little pipe of my mashed potatoes here. We got some butter real quick, Randy.
All right.
Okay, so we got our mashed potatoes. I'm gonna pull out my short ribs right now.
Use dry towels, don't use wet towels.
Yeah, that won't help.
The heat will go right through.
Let's see what these look like.
Ah!
Sorry.
We almost lost the butter. It was close. Oh, look at that.
And
How thick and...
this is our sugar. It almost looks like broken glass, but you can see it over here too. Kind of fun. Look, it's a stingray or something. But it's just a fun thing to play with, you know. And be careful, like I said, with the sugar being hot. But once you get it to that stage, your kids can play with it and they'll like it. It'll be fun. Not that they'll love eating it.
But be careful, it's also sharp too.
Very sharp. This is a great dish if you don't want to take the time on Sunday that you're going to serve your family and wait for this in the oven for 3 or 4 hours. This is a great dish that you can do the day before, especially how Randy said in a crock pot or something. Or start early in the morning in a crock pot and serve at dinner time. But this was one that reheats great. There is a lot of fat in the sauce when it comes out. So if you do that and you chill it, take your fat cap off before. You'll get a fat cap on the top of there, a real thin little layer of fat. And take that off so that way you don't get a greasy filling with your thing. But you can see these absolutely just fall apart tender. But most important things of cooking is taste, taste, taste.
Oh yeah. That
Money.
just melts in your mouth.
Money. Okay, you want to take one of our nice big short ribs right here? Actually, we'll take 2 of them. Okay. Now, one of the last important things. Look, you can see the garlic clove? Watch this. See that? It's just fall apart tender. Okay. I'm gonna take some of this sauce right here. Because that's all the goodness. Heat that up just a little bit. And while I'm heating that up, I'm gonna show you. We're just gonna garnish this real quick with some asparagus. You know, I'm kind of a short guy, so I like my food to be kind of tall sometimes. Well, just plate it however you'd like. There's no rules. As long as your hands are clean and your food's clean and cooked proper, can't lose. Okay. Okay, now we have our sauce here, right here. And we're gonna add Monte Burger, French for a mountain of butter. And it doesn't have to be shaped like a mountain, it's just about empty, full of butter in there. And you'll see this will just kind of thicken it up a little bit more. And it'll get nice and glossy and shiny, just rich, like, okay. Butter's almost melted. When you do this, take it off the heat. Don't put your butter in the heat. It'll break easily. And this, of course, is a lot more forgiving than like a beurre blanc or something like that. But you can see how shiny that is already. And talk about ooh-ah factor.
There you go. That is as good as it gets.
Now we're gonna put a little bit of our horseradish cream that we did. Just add a little something to it. Always wipe your plates, clean your borders. Last but not least, pretty flowers for garnish. Put the carrot right by the carrot so it looks like it's top. Little dandelions. And there you go, there's our short rib dish. Like I said, when you're plating something at the end, you took all that time to make a great dish. Take that last minute, minute and a half, or 30 seconds to prep your garnish and make your food look pretty, because it matters. Okay, let's take a look at Randy's shake.
Now it's going to have to cook a little bit longer, so.
Yeah.
Whoop. So you look at
Oh
that,
my
just
goodness.
pulled away from the bone, and oh yeah.
As soon as you take that top off, you can smell it. You can smell vision.
Now I'll have to reduce this down a lot more than you had to reduce yours down.
Yeah, you had a little bit more water in it for coverage, but the same thing I did right here. Take this. Like I said, if you're gonna serve it the next day, take the fat straight, cool it, take the fat cap off. But reduce this by about half. You know, then you have a demi. Add your Monte Burger, your mountain of butter, and it'll be the same as this, exact same.
Yep.
But look at this. Yabba dabba do, baby.
Yeah.
Look at that. Woo!
That's Flintstone right there.
That's. You serve that to Dad on Father's Day. Trust me, he ain't gonna be upset. But you can see it's just so tender, fall off the bone tender. You know?
And perfect.
When you do serve it, you know, like I said, look at this. Talk about ooh factor.
Oh yeah.
Just goodness all the way around. You know? But you can also tell, look at the bone, the marrow in the bone has started to cook. And inside this bone, and that's one of the best parts about the lamb shank, or I mean the veal shank or the beef shank for osso buco, is you're getting that marrow and flavorful marrow.
Oh yeah.
You take that out, that's one of the best parts of the whole dish. That's the best part of osso buco, is the marrow. Oh,
So
baby.
good. So good.
Good for your too. Good for your good for your bones. Good for it's good for you. And so that's our 3 dishes. Well, it looks like we're eating good tonight, Randy.
No kidding.
Well, those are our 3 dishes. Thank you, Randy, as always.
Thank
Thanks
you.
to Father Patty and the Redmond family for letting us do this. Hi, Mom. Hi, Aunt Penny. Hi, Love. Hi, Evie. Yeah, thanks y'all for watching. Stay safe out there. Wash your hands, and we'll see you next time.